The Indiana Fever just pulled off a blockbuster move that could change everything for Caitlin Clark and her championship hopes. Kelly Krauskopf, the architect behind their 2012 title, is back as president. If you're a Fever fan or just a Caitlin Clark follower, this is a moment you've been waiting for. But can Krauskopf build a championship team around Clark like she did with Tamika Catchings? Before we dive into the details, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on any updates. You're going to want to follow this story.
Background in terms of growing up in the organization and understanding everything, the nuances around it, and certainly gives us great perspective.
Krauskopf is known for building championship rosters, but the pressure is on. The Fever are leading the league in attendance, with Clark drawing record-breaking crowds. Can Krauskopf translate that energy into wins on the court? Will she make bold trades, shake up the coaching staff, or bring in new talent to help Clark get her first ring? One thing's for sure, the Fever's future is about to get interesting, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Since Krauskopf's last time in charge, the team has seen better days, especially in the seasons leading up to 2024. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, and now the stakes couldn't be higher. The challenge? Build a winning squad around the electrifying Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, Clark isn't just another rookie. She's been nothing short of a sensation. The way she's lighting up the court, she's practically selling out arenas on her own. With an average of over 137,000 fans packing the stands at home games, the Fever are now leading the league in attendance. It's like the hottest ticket in town. But here's where things get interesting. Krauskopf is stepping back into the spotlight, and all eyes are on her to not just ride this wave of popularity.
Recently, she was the Indiana Fever's president as well as GM for nearly 2 decades.
Yeah, I think a lot of the opportunities that I've been given,
But to turn it into actual success on the court. Fans are hyped, but they're also hungry for more than just excitement. They want a championship. So can Krauskopf build the kind of powerhouse team that can help Clark bring that shiny trophy back to Indiana? No pressure at all, right? Kelly Krauskopf is back with the Indiana Fever as president, and it's not just a walk down memory lane. It's a big opportunity for the team's future. With a solid history of building winning teams, everyone's wondering what her next move will be. Is she going to shake things up by changing the coaching staff, revamping the roster, or maybe both? Whatever she decides in the coming weeks could either boost Indiana's championship chances or, well, let's just say it could be less exciting. Her first major task? Figuring out what to do about head coach Christy Sides. Sure, Sides got the team back to the playoffs, which is great, but let's be honest, the defense was rough. They were near the bottom of the league in that department, and that's not exactly championship material. Plus, Sides has been leaning heavily on her star players, sometimes leaving them on the court for long stretches, and there have been some head-scratching moments with her in-game decisions. Whether it's knowing when to argue with the refs, protecting her players, or calling those all-important timeouts, there's definitely room for improvement. So Krauskopf has a big decision to make. Stick with Sides and hope things turn around, or bring in some new blood to tighten up the ship. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Krauskopf, with her vast experience as the WNBA's first ever director of basketball operations, has a pretty solid edge in the game of team building. She's like the Sherlock Holmes of scouting talent, always spotting the right pieces to complete the puzzle. The Fever roster is already shining with stars like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. But even the brightest lineup needs a little more sparkle. The team could definitely use a tough-as-nails enforcer, someone who isn't afraid to bring the grit and defense when things get rough. Krauskopf may have to go treasure hunting in the free agent market or whip out the trade machine to find that missing player who can knock a few elbows and keep the competition in check. But let's be real, even a superstar like Clark needs a breather sometimes. Finding a solid backup for her is crucial to keeping the offense firing on all cylinders. Without one, it's like driving a race car with no pit crew. Things could fall apart fast.
Well, thanks, Gary. And after building the Indiana Fever into one of the WNBA's best franchises, Kelly Krauskopf last December made history by joining the Indiana Pacers as the NBA's first assistant female general manager.
Luckily, Krauskopf's time with the Indiana Pacers, where she helped build a playoff team, shows she's no stranger to making smart moves. She knows how to pick players who not only fill gaps, but fit right into the team's culture, like puzzle pieces that click into place. Now, with Clark's electrifying play as the centerpiece, it's up to Krauskopf to add the right supporting cast. And we're all waiting to see if she'll pull a few aces out of her sleeve. The upcoming free agency period presents both opportunities and challenges for Krauskopf as she looks to strengthen the Indiana Fever. A key focus will be retaining Kelsey Mitchell, a vital player who brings consistent offensive power. Mitchell's presence would maintain stability while complementing Caitlin Clark, but Krauskopf must also evaluate potential upgrades at other positions to build a roster capable of contending for a championship. One area of speculation involves Nalissa Smith, whose role has diminished recently. There are rumors that she may be considered for a trade, especially with her recent performance struggles and off-court controversy involving her partner. Krauskopf will need to determine if Smith fits into the long-term vision for the team or if her trade value could be used to secure players who better align with Clark in the Fever's core lineup. Krauskopf's return to the Fever has energized fans, and her clear commitment to the team's future reflects her determination to build a winning culture. She has expressed her excitement about leading the franchise during this period of growth in women's basketball, positioning herself to make strategic moves that can set the Fever on a path to success. As Krauskopf begins her new position, many are curious about what she'll do next. Will she completely revamp the team, or will she focus on smaller key changes to improve what's already in place? The choices she makes could greatly influence the future success of the Fever and play a big role in how Caitlin Clark performs in her next season. The Indiana Fever have a lot going for them, but let's be honest, there's one big issue they need to fix ASAP: their defense. Last season, their defense was about as sturdy as a wet paper towel, ranking second worst in the league. Opponents had a field day, especially with three-pointers, and when that happened, it was like the Fever's games turned into wild shootouts. If their offense had an off night, they didn't stand much of a chance. But here's the silver lining. Krauskopf has a solid history of building winning teams, so maybe, just maybe, she can turn this defensive disaster into a strong suit. It's like they say, defense wins championships, or at least stops the bleeding. Krauskopf has a proven track record of building tough teams, as she showed when she built a powerhouse around Tamika Catchings. Now she's facing a similar challenge with Caitlin Clark at the center of the Fever's offense. The big task? Fixing the defense? To do that, she might go hunting for players who specialize in defense, either through free agency or trades. She'll need players who can block shots, chase down shooters, and steal the ball like it's their job, because it literally is. A few names that could be on her radar? How about Gabby Williams, a defensive star from France and a free agent from the Seattle Storm? Or maybe Sophie Cunningham from the Phoenix Mercury? And if she's feeling extra ambitious, why not take a swing at Nafisa Collier, who just happens to be a former Defensive Player of the Year? No harm in aiming high, but it's not just about stopping the other team from scoring. A stronger defense would take a lot of the weight off Clark's shoulders. If she doesn't have to carry the team by scoring 1,000,000 points every night, she can save her energy, avoid burning out, and maybe even get even better. Which, let's be honest, is a scary thought for everyone else. Krauskopf might also want to shake things up on the coaching side. Christy Sides has taken some heat for her defensive strategies, so it wouldn't be surprising if Krauskopf considers bringing in a defensive mastermind or even a new head coach with a history of building great defensive teams. It's not just about finding talented players, it's about creating a defensive system that works under pressure. And if anyone can do it, it's Krauskopf, given her experience turning teams into playoff contenders. Under Krauskopf's leadership, fans should get ready for a big shift in the Fever's style. It looks like defense will be the new obsession, much like the team's legendary 2012 championship squad. This could mean more hustle on defense, better teamwork, and focusing on the basics, like making sure nobody gets an easy rebound or a free shot. Of course, this won't happen overnight. Krauskopf knows that building a strong, championship-worthy defense is a slow and steady process. Kind of like trying to cook a perfect brisket. It takes time, the right ingredients, and a lot of patience. Now, the big question is whether Krauskopf can create the perfect team around the superstar Caitlin Clark. The answer might be a mix of familiar faces and some unexpected new ones. There's definitely a shakeup on the horizon, and fans should prepare to see a few favorite players possibly getting traded. At the heart of this future team is a core group of talent: Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. Clark's playmaking and deep three-pointers have already become a fan favorite. Boston, the #1 pick in 2023, brings strength and rebounding power. Mitchell? She's like a walking bucket, always ready to score, while Hull adds tough defense and hot shooting from behind the arc. Together, this group is like the ingredients for a great recipe. Now it's just a matter of mixing them together perfectly. The Indiana Fever are at a make-or-break point, and General Manager Krauskopf has some big decisions to make. First up, there's Kelsey Mitchell, who was the team's top scorer last season with 19.2 points per game. She's a free agent now, and her scoring ability works really well alongside Clark's playmaking. They're like a basketball version of a power couple, lighting up the scoreboard. So Krauskopf has to figure out whether to spend the money to keep Mitchell or roll the dice and use that cash to bring in another star. Decisions. Then there's Nalissa Smith. She started in 37 games last season, but as the year went on, her role kind of shrank. She's putting up solid numbers, 10.6 points and 7.1 rebounds per game. But there's a catch. Her lack of three-point shooting doesn't quite fit in with the team's strategy of spreading the floor around Clark's playmaking magic. So the trade rumors are swirling. Maybe Krauskopf trades her for someone who fits the team's style better. Cue the NBA drama music. And let's not forget Erica Wheeler, the highest-paid player on the team, making over $400,000 a year. Now here's the thing. She's often cheering from the bench like the team's #1 fan, and when she does come in, the game tends to slow down. That's not ideal when Clark is all about fast-paced action. So, is Wheeler really worth that paycheck? Or should Krauskopf look for a veteran who can both support Clark and bring some energy off the bench? The Fever's playoff run this year also made one thing clear. They need more veteran leadership. Going up against the experienced Connecticut Sun, the Fever's young players were a bit like deer in headlights. Krauskopf knows she needs seasoned players who can help guide the young talent when the pressure's on. Fortunately, the team has a ton of salary cap space, so she's got the flexibility to rebuild the roster. And her shopping list? Players who can shoot the lights out from deep and defenders who can put the clamps on the other team's stars. Picture this: Clark running the show at point guard, Mitchell, if they keep her, providing scoring fireworks, a lockdown defender on the wing, Boston dominating the paint, and a stretch four who can hit threes and switch on defense. That's a dream team lineup that could give any opponent nightmares. But there's more than just player moves to consider. Krauskopf also has to think about the coaching staff. Christy Sides did get the team back into the playoffs, but there's been some chatter about her defensive schemes and game management. Will Krauskopf stick with her, bring in some new assistants to fix the weak spots, or go all in with a new head coach? Stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting offseason. In short, Krauskopf has her work cut out for her. But with some smart moves and maybe a little luck, she could turn the Fever into serious contenders. And hey, if nothing else, at least the offseason drama is keeping things entertaining. That's the big scoop on the Indiana Fever's latest moves and how they're aiming to help Caitlin Clark chase a championship. With Kelly Krauskopf back in charge, things are about to get real interesting. Will she keep the team's stars, pull off a wild trade, or shake up the coaching staff? One thing's for sure, something big is coming, and we're all here for it. But hey, what do you think? Is Krauskopf the right person to lead Clark and the Fever to glory? Will the Fever actually pull off a championship run, or are we just getting ahead of ourselves? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take on all this. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss any of the action because, let's be honest, the drama is only just beginning. It's going to be a fun ride, so buckle up.